Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you another video. All right, so the Laker game is on, but I just want to say something real quick because, of course, I've been doing my Bible study with my family, and I was able to sacrifice a little bit of that Laker game to speak to my family. I'm going to further sacrifice to speak about what it is that we were talking about. Essentially, it was about giving, just like last week, more or less. Giving not just with your money, but more so giving with your heart and your intentions. The Lord often requires us from what it is that we have to give a tenth of what it is that we have. It's called first fruits. A lot of times people will reject that. As a child, I rejected that. But it's really just a base level for what it is that ultimately the Lord will receive from you, so that we don't have any confusion about what it is required to give within the religion of Christianity and understanding of Christ. But even more so, it's about what you're willing to give regardless of how much you have, but just that your intentions be pure in giving. And so for me, the question that I had was that I don't have a lot. Can I make up for that by speaking into this camera, sacrificing my Laker time to really speak about what it is the Lord wants me to give, and what it is that I've learned? And the answer is not necessarily. Because if you have any resources to give, then your resources are that importance as well. We have an obligation to give monetarily. But to where is the question? And honestly, we can discern that ourselves. You don't have to keep paying into me. You know what I mean? Give me your tenth every week. That's not necessarily what you have in your heart. It's about giving to whom you feel you should. And a lot of times we think maybe it's the family. I benefit from that when my uncle and my grandfather give me what they give me to put myself in a position. But maybe it's somebody on the street that needs something. Maybe it is your church that you would feel you want to give that to. Maybe it is somebody, a friend of yours or somebody like that. Maybe it's a stranger. I don't know. But the point is that you give with your heart, not just with your money. And don't make any mistake about it. If you only want to give $5 and you end up giving 15, the Lord most definitely appreciates that you gave more than you intended, but he knows what's in your heart. Now, rarely does a person do that. If anything, if it's in our heart to give less, then that's what we're going to give, and we'll have more to give. But the Lord is going to judge us by what it is that's in our hearts in regards to what it is that we choose to give. So if you overdo your means and then are angry about it and going to hold it over somebody else's head, or say because I've given more, now they need to do for me in some unnatural ways, that's not really giving. My uncle brought up Cain and Abel in the story. One of the brothers, I don't remember which one it was, and you may know the story, but one of the brothers gave what was in his heart, and the other took care of everything in his own world, and then kind of gave what was left over that was easy for him to give, and the Lord rejected his giving. And that ultimately created a rift between the brothers, and the lesser giving brother ultimately in jealousy killed the brother who was the one who was given the most. That caused a horror in his own heart, and it tumbled forward something that ultimately damned his spirit forever and made him an example for the rest of us forever of what doing selfish giving can ultimately be about, disgracing yourself. You know what I mean? So this is what the lesson was for me today. In my position, like I said, I don't have a whole lot, so to give a whole lot, or to give may hurt, but whatever a tenth of what it is that I have can be a base. If I only got $1, then I can give 10 cents and that'll be enough. But the idea is to give first, not just to set aside everything for myself and make sure my situation's straight and then give, but to trust that giving first will ultimately be something that provides the balance that's necessary. And what will end up happening if everyone follows that is that nobody will not be with, because others will too give tenths first, and you will get back what you've been given, maybe even more, in the balance of things. So that's what it's about. That's the lesson. I felt like it was important for me to share this lesson just in the spirit of giving, because right now what I would otherwise want to do is watch the Lakers. They're playing the Bucks. I got responsibility to y'all to talk about that. But the idea is to give that up, sacrifice that for the betterment of the Lord, because the Lord has done so much for me. Give that up for the betterment of this message, because this message can do so much more for you. And so that's really what it's about, man. We sacrifice. And I tell you the truth, every time I went to church on Laker days, we won back in the day. That's something I always tell y'all. When I put forth the Lord first, rarely did my team lose. And if they did lose, they came back around and ended up winning the championship that year. So I want to kind of give more than I take in regards to Laker time. There's going to be a lot of games where it's a Sunday and they play at 4 o'clock. Even since the playoff game, I kind of want to keep this up because this is what the Lord is teaching me. That I'm strong enough to sacrifice these moments. That I'm strong enough to not be unhappy picking up the phone and learning what it is that my family wants to teach in the spirit of what a better me as a person. Because everything I was doing leading up to this led me in this situation. So if it means sacrificing some Laker time, if it means sacrificing some time with some friends, if it means sacrificing a chance to eat a meal right now, then that's something I should be willing to do, because that for which is unselfish will ultimately come back around and benefit me in situations like this when I absolutely need it. And if people are in the spirit of unselfishness or in the spirit of the wrong brother in that one, then I ain't going to get what I need in times like this. And that's unfortunate because it's really necessary for me to have it. Not in the spirit of being selfish, but in the spirit of understanding that once I get on my feet, to keep this spirit so that I can make sure other people get what they need. And in the spirit of having more than what it is that I have right now, that I will discipline myself into the rhythm of being willing to sacrifice, willing to give a tenth or more, and then having the spirit of wanting to give for the appreciation for what has already been given and for the intentions of God who's willing to give more. So that's really what it's about, man. Be willing to sacrifice, be willing to give, be willing to look at circumstances and say, I have at least a tenth to give, and it's not going to hurt me to do it first before I take care of my own situation. Because you best believe if everybody has that mentality, it's going to come back around and make sure you get that tenth, and you're going to have way more from others who have so much more of a tenth to give that you're going to ultimately get everything you need, and those that you love will ultimately receive what they are supposed to receive as well. So that's what I got, man. I'm get back to the game, and of course try to give y'all as much as I can from that game from which I'm not watching. But this is a worthy cause, man. BDF 44, I thank you all for watching, and I'm out.